the Luminous path, and this whole podcast is essentially about that, about returning to your essential self, your true nature, your awakened being, or the I am. And for me, this is the most profound teachings of all teachings, because it's like the foundation of all the different teachings, and it has different expressions. I think Christianity, like when you come to the mystical Christianity and the Gnostics, or Sufism, Buddhism, there's many religions out there. Essentially, it all comes into returning to your heart, yourself, source self, God within you. And in that, you're meeting the world in clarity, and you can allow the world to be without violence, without trying to control and manipulate. And life can be a devotion and an offering of love in the world, and you start seeing the world from this place of love, and then life turns into love, the different expressions of life. You will see it more and more as the divine dancing in life, expressed through form. But what's the essence of form? It's the formless. It's birthed from somewhere, right? And that place, that awareness, that sees, that knows, is the non-dual oneness, presence of all there is. And if we wouldn't have the knowing of something, we wouldn't even know it would exist. It wouldn't even exist. And it's complicated from the mind to understand these things. And for me, it's always been an intuition, and almost like I cannot devote myself to something that is not ultimately true. And I've explored many different teachings and so forth, and I always been wanting to go deeper to the core, where it's like you're not excluding anything, but including everything. And that, to me, non-duality feels like that inclusion, where everything can be included, and life itself, you don't have to deny or cast out certain things. Like, it's a full on welcoming of life itself and all the different expressions that life has. And then there's this sense of ignorance is when you come from separation, and there might be actions and doings that are coming from the wound or the pain, and that sense of separation being a separate entity. And that is always of lack. And in those moments, we might not act from the most aligned place, but that's from the awareness that we hold at that moment. And that's also essentially okay too, in the bigger perspective. And my love for non-duality is really so true and real, as it's been for me. Even in plant medicines, I keep on coming back to the same. When I've been in ceremonies, I keep on coming back to the same understanding that regardless of what shapes and what forms and this and that, it's not about that. And it's about that presence that holds it all, the foundation of life, the awareness of life. And as Rupert Spira once said, he's a great dual teacher who's inspired me greatly. And he used to be a potter, an artist, and now he's an artist of the heart and mind, in my opinion, of truth, an artist of consciousness. He's sharing it so beautifully and really clearly. But he said something around the eyes that sees. You can't see yourself with your own eyes, but you can know your eyes and the looking by simply the awareness of that. And it's the same with awareness. You can't really see it. And for a while, I used this term of turn your awareness around and look at yourself and go back home, return. And I'm realizing more and more that it's not even a returning, it's already there, and it's just around the softening and an opening of the lensed perspective of the contraction or the focused, contracted reality. And then once we're just softening and leaning back into that conscious presence, we come back more and more into that bath of love, this warmth of love. And it's such a simple teaching that it can be easily overlooked because it's right here. And yeah, I feel like it's a long path that has its different crooks and corners and mountains to climb. And then there is another puzzle piece that's been seen and awoken to. And then there is life happening and mirroring back where we are holding and where we are seeing ourselves as a limited, separate being. And in a way, we can be really grateful for those moments. And sometimes it can be hard to be grateful for these moments in the moment. But as we're coming into that expansive awareness again, there's like a beautiful kind of yes saying and a gratitude of all the teachings that life holds for us and that life is bringing to us. And it's a profound moment of clarity and awareness if we can actually say yes to these knocks that comes at our door, because the door is only there when we are in separation, when there's parts of us that's still feeling that they're from a separate being or a personality. And essentially, I feel like the walls of the house will crumble down, and there is that spacious nature of the light of the sun shining through fully. And we can maybe there is a door opening and the window opens, and then slowly the walls comes down and we get clearer and more spacious. And sometimes it can feel like this breaking open and becoming free from these restrictions. And there's many ways that this can show up in our life, as a longing, as a breaking free into freedom, as memory recognition of this other world, which is right here. And yes, as I'm speaking this, one thing that comes to mind is also the importance of the body and the body awareness and the inner body that Eckhart Tolle is speaking about, that field, the field of aliveness, that subtle field that is not even your body, it's your energetic body. And resting in that is actually a really beautiful doorway into this deeper presence of being. And many times also when we're touching more and more on these deeper levels and this spacious nature, the mind can get quite active and start to try to hold on and grip even more, because it's feeling that tangible and limitedness and want to hold on to what it knows. And mind is dual, right? So it's not going to know the non-dual direct. So it's going to be trying with full force to hold on to what it knows, the dual nature, binary. And I find it when we return deeper into the heart center, to the root of the heart, the spiritual heart, so to speak, allowing the mind to soften in there into the heart, feels like an easier anchor for the mind to sink into than just like letting go fully. And hopefully one day it will let go. For me, it have not let go. And even though I have glimpses of pure self or the I am in moments and kind of clear recognitions, the mind is still weaving on. There's still fears and moments of wanting to control and steer life and not fully trusting the river, and then there's moments of fully letting go and feeling the form and these constrictions and things is actually beautiful and fun to work with, and just a joy, and it's a big yes to it all. And it really depends on where I'm sitting in myself, which seat I'm sitting in the back of being or in the personality seats, and it can alternate and move in and out and flow and open into that big ocean of unconditional being. Not even big, but unlimited ocean of just being. And it can move into these more human contracted states. And also, like, I really started to love all of it. And that's the beauty, I feel, of all the work that I've been wrestling with and opening with and flowing with and questioning and doubting and returning to the non-dual back over and over again. I always come back to that teaching, the non-dual teaching, which to me is not even a teaching, but to me, it feels like the most truest expression of source in a clean way. And then move into the Gnostics and the mystic Christianity and the Buddhism and the Zen. Like, it's all different flavors of this beautiful truth that is simmering underneath and within every person's consciousness and heart. And it's also just so beautiful to find our own way into it and what feels really true. And I feel like there is so many ways we can walk into truth. We all have our own unique doorway and our own unique path, our own unique luminous path to live from that space of love and truth and openness to the world.